Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we'll be comparing the new Toyota Tacoma to the new 4Runner to see what the differences actually are, because this generation of Tacoma and 4Runner are significantly more similar than the previous gen. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Orem Toyota for giving me some time with both of these vehicles. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Powering the Tacoma is a turbo 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy with this is 19 around town, 23 on the highway, with power outputs being 278 horsepower and then 317 pound-feet of torque. You can also get this with a hybrid. Now the 4Runner has the exact same powertrain options available to it. However, it gets better fuel economy. So for example, with this non-hybrid version, like what that Tacoma has, it gets 19 around town, same there, but then 25 on the highway. And I think a big part of that is the fact that it is just a smaller, lighter vehicle, but also every single 4Runner comes with one of these air dams, and the Tacomas, some of the packages don't. Before I move forward with this comparison, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe, because I post content every single day. Now, since there's so much that's similar, I want to focus on the key differences with the vehicles. So you can see here with the kind of front bumper and grille design compared to the 4Runner. Notice the 4Runner has like the double mustache situation, but you'll see that the headlights, for example, pretty much a straight carryover, although the Tacoma has that little kind of like piece below the headlight, whereas the 4Runner does not. And like I said, the 4Runners all come with air dams, whereas the Tacomas, some packages like this Tier D Off-Road do not. And then you'll notice in the Tier D Off-Road, you have less painted stuff. But if you get like a 4Runner SR5 that's there in the background, you can see that a lot of stuff is unpainted just like the Tacoma. But yeah, pretty much the same front end with a few differences. And then when it comes to the tire and wheel setup, depending on the package that you get will determine the sizing. If you get a Tier D Off-Road, for example, both of them, they're pretty much going to have the same setup. Something that I have noticed that is a little bit of a difference, however, those with the fender flares. So with the 4Runner, it is painted here on the Tier D Sport, but just like on the off-road, it's unpainted, but then also on the SR5, it's unpainted, whereas on a Tacoma SR5, they actually paint the fender flares, so that's a key difference there. You can see the mirrors, all of that is identical. The handles are obviously painted here on the 4Runner, but you notice the same exact piece of kit. And then the 4Runners will have that little badging there on the side, whereas the Tacoma will do just a sticker there on the back if it's got a fancy package. And the 4Runner obviously has the cool glass that curves up here because it's an SUV versus the Tacoma truck bed. And I had these lined up pretty well, so you can see the wheelbase difference. The Tacoma, being a truck, is going to have a longer wheelbase. So here's your side profile of the Tacoma, and then here's your side profile of the 4Runner. The Tacoma, having a truck bed, you can see has plenty of space here on the back. Composite bed. By the way, you've got lights and everything, you've got an outlet. But yeah, this is why you get a pickup truck, right? And the tailgate with the new Tacoma is easy to lift up. But I do want to emphasize the rear end. So look at like the taillights here, kind of mini Tundra is a good way to describe it. The 4Runner, being an SUV, everything's going to be closed off here in the back, but tons of storage space here. In the rear, you got an outlet. Obviously not nearly as much space as the Tacoma in terms of length, but it does have a lot of height, which with the Tacoma you just have to add a cap over the bed and that'll fix that. Anyways, manual, just like the Tacoma's bed. The 4Runner does have the cool window that raises and lowers, but look at the taillight difference there. So the back ends of the vehicles look a lot more distinctive, and I mean that's to be expected, truck versus SUV. Now here in the backseat area of the 4Runner, because I do want to see if there's a space difference, we do have some vents here in the back, and then the seats here in the 4Runner, they have this like kind of premium cloth type feel, and you notice there's soft touch here on the armrest, and both these have the same interior spec, even though one's Sport and Tier D Off-Road, neither of them are premium packages. And then also headroom, that'll be another thing to compare. I think this says everything that we need. The Tacoma has quite a bit less legroom compared to the 4Runner, but you can see you got some USB ports and all of that. I'd say headroom is pretty similar overall. Something to note though, the cloth in the Tacoma feels less premium. It feels kind of like cheaper overall, and there is no padding here on the door panel, so that's also kind of cheaper feeling. Now popping up front with the 4Runner, you can see again with that soft touch there, you've got all of your window controls, blind spot running with the mirrors. Payload, let's see the weight difference. So 895, 6395 for the gross vehicle weight rating, so that means the overall weight's like 5,400 pounds roughly. And then again with these front seats, you got that nicer kind of cloth trim. You got cool pedals with the TRD Sport, but let's quickly pop in. And turning on the 4Runner, full digital gauge cluster. See the steering wheel's got like adaptive cruise control. You got this nice perforated trim. You've got like controls for the center stack on the other side. Single zone climate. You got heated seats, heated steering wheel with this. I want to see the difference with the glove box wiggle. So we'll compare this to the Tacoma to see if the Tacoma does in fact wiggle more than the 4Runner glove box. But yeah, traditional two-wheel drive, 2-speed transfer case with the 4Runner. You got these cool kind of like grab handles there, or one on the passenger side rather. It's kind of interesting how they've done that. And you should see the headroom difference too if there's anything with that. But pricing, this one stickers for $53,000 is equipped. Again, this is a TRD Sport non-premium, which is very similar package-wise to a Tacoma TRD off-road without the premium package. There are a few differences, like this one has no power seats, whereas that Tacoma, because of how it's optioned out, does have power driver seat, for example. Now taking a look at the Tacoma door panel again, the trim just doesn't feel as premium as the 4Runner. All the rest of the stuff is pretty much the same switchgear wise, blind spot monitoring. Payload's quite a bit more, 1,200 pounds, 6,240. So this, how is that possible? This weighs like 5,000 pounds. So it's lighter than the 4Runner? Huh. Is my mathing? Weird. Anyways, again, the front seats, just not as premium feeling, but they do have power adjustments, which is nice. And same thing, we'll pop in here and we'll start her up. So again, you can see all this stuff is pretty much the same. Again, it's a carryover. Now, I guess this one does have a little bit of a different package because it's got this big screen here in the center. But still, you've got heated seats, you've got single zone climate, heated steering wheel, got a cool TRD shifter, two-wheel drive, 2-speed transfer case. This one has the TRD off-road stuff, but we're not gonna focus on that. Glove box wiggle. I would say it's actually about the same. So I guess they both have about the same amount of wiggle jiggle now. Tacoma there, which is pretty cool. And you got that sunroof on this one. I actually feel like I'm kind of, I don't know, notice the handle's the same. I feel like I'm sitting a little bit lower in the truck. Maybe the seat's just put down a little bit, but definitely like the hood. Looking over the hood here versus on the 4Runner, it doesn't look too different. Anyways, this is priced about the same, it's 52 grand, so it's not like it's any more expensive than that 4Runner. So in conclusion, this newest generation 4Runner really is just like a Tacoma SUV. The previous gen 4Runner is a little bit more unique, kind of like the new Land Cruiser is more unique. I think that's really the new 4Runner. Anyways, so after doing this, you can see that the Tacoma does have just more capabilities as a truck, more payload, more space in the bed, but it's worse as a passenger car, right? Inferior materials, and it has less space in the cabin overall compared to the 4Runner. So the 4Runner really is just more lux, less truck, and that's more truck and less lux, but they are very similar, way more than we had the previous gen. Let me know if you like the new 4Runner or the new Tacoma more.